Tonight, on another episode of Smells Like Wrasslin, again taking those ratings from Power Slap. Fuck you, Dana White. We got a lot to talk about. WWE, AEW. Sonya Deville got arrested? That's pretty fucking crazy. What's going on, everybody? Eric here, Smells Like Wrasslin, episode 54. Going over the last week of wrestling news. We got, again, in the WWE, the big angle, the bloodline. Gonna be going over that. Tonight's Dynamite, doing a review. A couple other pieces of information. I just found out about, this Sonya Deville thing. When the fuck did this happen? 7 hours ago. Interesting. All right. Yeah. So, all right. So, I mean, pretty much, she had a gun in a place where she shouldn't have. She has a permit for Florida. She had it in New Jersey. She does not have a permit in New Jersey. You know, it is what it is. I don't blame her for carrying one because she had that stalker that was following her a little ways back. That was a little bit wild. But yeah, that was wild. That was freaking wild. Bloodline talk. Let's go. So they are slowly moving towards the process of Sammy and Kevin becoming a tag team, but right now the main question is what's going on with Jey Uso. We already know where Jimmy stands. Jimmy, the one who was the guy who was most vehemently behind Sami Zayn, now is the guy who really is leading the charge against getting this guy taken down outside of Roman and Solo. But, you know, Jimmy's taking it pretty seriously now. Jay, you could tell, is a little conflicted. I mean, he's the one who had, I think he's the last guy to pin Roman was Jey Uso. You know what I mean? So, like, he's the only one that, like, he's got a more complicated history with Roman than anyone else. Damn. I don't know what's gonna happen. But, you know, obviously Kevin Owens is he has no inclination to team with Sammy right now. He still wants to take out the Bloodline on his own. Sammy wants to take out the Bloodline on his own. Cody wants to take out the Bloodline on his own. I feel like everyone needs to come to an understanding, like, listen, like, the only reason why these guys have been running roughshod over everyone is because it's always been one-on-one, you know? I don't think they've ever had, like, they've never had a numbers answer to the Bloodline, you know what I mean? So what's going on? Like, how do you beat him? And it's, you know, you fight him on two fronts. You go after the tag team titles with one tag team, and then you go after Roman with Cody. And that's how you kind of squeeze him. With all the dissension going in the ranks, and you find someone to take out Solo Sikoa, you're good to go. So, I mean, like, that's the main storyline that's going on in WWE. And to be quite honest, that's kind of a problem that they're having. That is the only really worthwhile storyline that's going on inside WWE is the Bloodline. I don't see people going like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens with the Judgment Day next week. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. I will say this though. The wrestling on Raw has been a lot more entertaining than I remember it being in quite some time. The tag team match between Jimmy and Solo versus the Street Profits, that was a great tag team match. I was like enjoying watching the wrestling on that show. And that says something because I haven't enjoyed watching the wrestling on Monday Night Raw in quite some time. This is one of the times I'm like, oh, well, I'm actually gonna pay attention to this, you know? It kind of just flowed very well. So, a solid episode of Raw. Obviously, the road to WrestleMania continues. They're continuing to build up towards Mania and all the storylines therein. Lots of things are taking shape, so you know, we'll see what happens as it happens. On to another report. Bryan Danielson, 33% chance Tony Khan lets me do the G1. He did an interview recently to promote Revolution, which is this Sunday. And you know, it's a very interesting conundrum, you know. Bryan is older, you know, he's no spring chicken. He's got some mileage on him. We all know that in terms of his body and the concussions and all the injuries that he's had. But he would do fucking awesome in the G1. It is a pro wrestling fan's dream to see Bryan Danielson enter the G1 and do something incredible. You know what I mean? So, but you know, he's signed with AEW, and he's a very probably expensive investment for Tony Khan. So to have a guy like that off of television for probably about like a month, Um, Going there, wrestling strong style, potentially getting injured. Is that something he really wants to do? I don't know. I mean, granted, they don't want to really talk about Danielson in the G1 with a title match with MJF looming. I get that. That's smart promoting. You don't want people to be overlooking this title match because they're talking about Danielson in the G1. So I am of the opinion that Danielson will be in the G1. They just need to get this match out of the way and set up another contender for MJF. But otherwise, I am very excited to see if Danielson's in the G1. Danielson versus Okada. I mean, come on. Danielson versus Tanahashi. Danielson versus Naito. Danielson versus Will Ospreay. Come on, man. Come on. It would be amazing. It would be amazing. I like the G1, like New Japan especially, because they've been the ones hit the hardest because of COVID, with the non-cheering fans and so many of their talent from outside of the country, and they had such strict travel restrictions in Japan. It was hard to get these guys over here. Like, New Japan took a hit. But, like, they're making great strides to start bringing more eyes to their show. You know what I mean? They had Omega at Wrestle Kingdom against Ospreay. They had the debut of Mercedes Moné. Conan in the chat also has it. Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Unless they're going to do another Forbidden Door, like, when are we going to get that match? We still haven't gotten Danielson versus Omega 2. Like, there are a lot of things to do with Bryan Danielson to get your money's worth out of him before he probably inevitably goes back to the WWE and retires there. But, like, it's got to happen. Like, please, 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 please let this happen. Danielson in the G1 would be fucking awesome. But I get it. It's smart booking. You don't... Khan? My bad, dude. It's like, it's not explained in the chat, bro. I had to flip a coin, dog. Fuck me. Khan! So, let's go on to the Dynamite review. I'm not gonna lie, this was kind of a lackluster go-home show for a pay-per-view. It's probably been the most lackluster go-home show that AEW has done in the history of the company. That, I mean, they haven't even been around for 5 years, so, take that with a grain of salt. But this has been the coldest go-home show I feel like they've had in quite some time. Yeah, but there's like no accents on the name, you know what I mean? Like, how was I to know? I had to roll the dice, man. There were so many different pronunciations. My last name gets pronounced different all the time because there's an accent on it, and like, they don't have accents on fucking, like, no one knows how to fucking hotkey an accent. So my last name gets fucked up all the time. So I feel bad because I hate fucking up names. My bad. Con. My bad, yo. Maybe in the Discord in parentheses put CON. So there was a lot on the billing for tonight. The Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, the Face of the Revolution ladder match, the AEW All Atlantic title. I appreciate that, Con. Thank you for forgiving me, bro. The AEW All Atlantic champion, Orange Cassidy, puts the title on the line against Big Bill. Tony Storm versus Riho. Chris Jericho versus Peter Avalon. Hook versus Matt Hardy. And we're going to hear from MJF and Bryan Danielson ahead of their match at Revolution. You look at that card and you're like, am I getting excited for Revolution? Meh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a pretty stout AEW fan. Like, I have never not enjoyed an AEW pay-per-view. Of course, I already ordered it. So, regardless if the setup is cold, I know I'm going to see some awesome wrestling. You want to know why? Because they never there's no commercial breaks, and I get to see full matches, and it's great. So, but I mean, I will say this has been a really cold startup to Revolution. Hobbs was on tonight. Josh, Hobbs was on tonight. Hobbs, not to spoil the show, but I'm going to anyways. Hobbs won the Face of the Revolution ladder match. He's going to be challenging for the TNT title. So it's either Hobbs is going to face either Wardlow or Samoa Joe, whoever wins their the TNT title match at Revolution. The winner of that match has Hobbs to look forward to. So I think Hobbs should be the TNT champ. I think he's a more compelling character than Wardlow is. And Samoa Joe, he's already the ROH television champion, so he could just continue to do his thing as the ROH TV champ. But like Hobbs is a great character, and he's getting a lot better. And this Book of Hobbs thing is fucking awesome. He should fucking come out fucking decked out in a fucking kingpin tuxedo, holding this gigantic ass book of motherfuckers he's beating the shit out of, and just like keep on and just go on a monster run as the TNT champ. Go on the same kind of run that Miro did, And then fuck, if you want to bring back Miro to feud with Hobbs after Hobbs has gone over as a monster heel, and then Miro finally gets like a storyline and a push that makes it worth that, he actually shows up to work. Like, I'm all for that. I think that could happen. So let's see. The opening match was Orange Cassidy and Big Bill. It was okay. Like, we all know that Big Bill wasn't going to win the belt. It was just one of those little guy, big guy matches. And Stokely running around out there like just like the dude from Judas and the Black Messiah, running around with that cast. Stokely Hathaway's fucking awesome, man. He's hysterical. So eventually, Orange Cassidy ends up winning. He gets a little help from Danhausen, who also gets his shit pushed in that match. And that's pretty much it. So he hit him with like 1,000 orange punches and Superman punches. And then he jumped off the top rope, hit Big Bill with the Superman punch, and Bob's your uncle. That was the match. We have a recap of last week's main event between Jon Moxley and Evil Uno, where Moxley beat the living shit out of Evil Uno and busted him open. Did an awesome promo backstage, fucking still covered in Evil Uno's blood and his own blood during that match, saying that he lives for this. He's not the guy you want to go down a dark alley with. He reminds Hangman Page that he tried to leave this alone, but Page wanted this. There's only room for one animal in AEW, and Moxley will die to protect that title. And what's his? The title of being a ruthless animal in AEW. This was awesome. This was fucking great. Moxley was covered in blood. His right eye was all swollen up, covered in blood. He's all screaming like he's gonna murder Hangman Adam Page. Like, I want to see these two guys beat the shit out of each other. It's a Texas death match. Like, that's what you have to do. This is a blood feud between these two. Moxley knocked out Hangman. Hangman was put on the shelf. His career in jeopardy. Any single time you get a head injury like that, your career is in jeopardy. He couldn't even remember his son's name after the match. His newborn son, who he literally had right before he won the title at Full Gear. So, like, there's history with this match. Hangman also paid Moxley back and cleaned his clock as well. So, like, this is how you want to end a blood feud. Texas death match. They're going to beat the shit out of each other. This is fucking awesome. I'm excited for this match. Very excited for this match. I'll tell you, let's talk about a match I'm not excited for. The Elite versus House of Black. Now, a lot of people have been saying there hasn't really been any build for this match, and I beg to differ, people. I beg to differ. Now, I could still believe this is a cold feud going into going into Revolution. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But to say that there's no build is a little dishonest, because House of Black, as soon as they came back, they have been dominating everybody that's been put in front of them. They have not been losing at all. All right. Now, they've been in feuds with different people. They haven't gone for the titles until now, but House of Black has been has continuously being built as a force to be reckoned with in the trios division. It's just no one was paying. I honestly think no one was paying attention. Now, that's kind of Tony's fault, because if you're building up a tag team, you know what I mean? Like, you should be, it should be to the point where people aren't saying there's no build for this. But I think they wanted more of a direct build between the House of Black and the Elite. But let's be real, the Elite were just doing fun in games ever since they won the belts. They were fighting Top Flight and AR Fox. They were doing tag matches. You know what I mean? Like, there should have been once, like, at least a week or two after the Elite won the belts, there should have been harassment by the House of Black. You know what I mean? They should have been taking out, like, Omega and then leaving the Bucks to have tag matches on their own. They should have been taking out Matt Jackson and going after his back. Like, there should have been a systematic harassment of the Elite from the House of Black leading up to this match. I think that's what the fans wanted. Because right now it's just a team who's been dominating against the Elite. You know what I mean? And, like, let's be real. Like, who thinks House of Black is actually going to take the belts off the Elite? Like, the Elite just won the belts, you know? Like, I don't know who they're going to eventually drop the titles to. It's going to have to be a trios team that they really feel could carry that division. And to be quite honest, House of Black is on a short list of teams that I think could carry the division. So it's like, are you only going to have the Elite have this small kind of nothing reign that they had just to give it to House of Black? And then what do you do with the Elite? Do you kind of break up that trio and have the Bucks go back into the tag team division and have Omega start going after the AEW belt? Or maybe he could finish his feud with Danielson, or maybe he could go after Will Ospreay. Maybe Omega could go into the G1. Like, who knows? Like, there's a lot of things that could be happening with the Elite and the House of Black, and I feel like what they're doing is probably one of the more least interesting things that they could have done with those 6 guys. Powerhouse Hobbs defeats Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, AR Fox, Sammy Guevara, Action Andretti, Konosuke Takeshita, and Commander, who I've never heard of before but did some wild shit in this match. Powerhouse Hobbs is the face of the Revolution. He will face the winner of Samoa Joe versus Wardlow after their TNT title match at Revolution. And he's going to fight them next week on Dynamite. So it's going to be the winner of this match, and then a week goes by, and boom, you got Hobbs. So that's going to be the first time we see that champion fight. They already have a title shot. So now, do you put the belt on Wardlow for him to beat Hobbs, and then they start a feud, and then maybe then Hobbs takes the belt off of Wardlow? If you have Wardlow win and it's not Hobbs who's taking the belt, who do you have in line to eventually take that belt off of Wardlow? And what kind of feuds are you going to have set up for him? You know, maybe have Samoa Joe win. Have Wardlow go after MJF, because that story is there in itself. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure that there's a casino battle royal that's coming up at Double or Nothing. If you have Wardlow win that, he could challenge MJF for the belt without any sort of, like, build in terms of him beating a whole bunch of other guys and fighting his way to MJF, which eventually he will most likely do, because MJF puts everybody through a fucking gauntlet. So, you know, I'm not sure. There's a lot of ways they could go with the TNT title, but I think it's time for Joe to kind of, like, be a one champ. You know what I mean? Like, Ring of Honor now has their weekly series. I'm going to have to sign up for Honor Club and take a look and see if it's worth watching. And if it is, I'll add that to my reports. But, you know, we'll see. But there's a lot of ways that they could go. A lot of ways that they could go. Let's see. We had Renee Paquette backstage with a medical update saying that Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta are not clear to compete in the tag team battle royal later tonight after they got attacked on Rampage. Danhausen says that him and Orange Cassidy are going to take their place. Orange Cassidy, who's kind of like a little worse for wear after Big Bill beat the shit out of him in Orange Cassidy's title defense. But he said he doesn't care, and they were gonna go into the match. So Danhausen and Orange Cassidy will represent the best friends in the tag team battle royal. Chris Jericho defeats Peter Avalon. I guess this was a way to put Jericho on TV. I don't know. It was Peter Avalon. You know what I mean? Jericho gave Avalon the majority of the match. Jericho hits a code breaker and wins, which is pretty much how it should go. Jericho immediately started beating the shit out of Avalon after the bell. That prompted Ricky Starks to come out, chases Jericho off. Jericho taunts him, says all this shit saying he's going to beat him at Revolution. And even though the Jericho Appreciation Society is banned from ringside, they are not banned from ringside tonight on Dynamite, in which the JAS go and jump Ricky Starks, beat the shit out of him, and leave him for dead to end the segment. Hangman Adam Page has pre-recorded comments for Jon Moxley. They have Hangman, I guess he's in a barn or a farm somewhere, saying that this is all he has left to lose. He's lost the AEW title. Mox has beat up his friends, but Mox can't take away his spot. Sunday, Mox will take Moxley's spot at the top of AEW. Hangman doesn't just want to be a guy on the roster. He wants to be one of the guys on the roster, and to cement that, he feels like he needs to take out Mox once and for all. He says, he says that Moxley is Page's last glimmer of hope in AEW, being that Page really doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a team because the Dark Order's gotten beaten up. He's on the outs with the Elite still. They've never really reconciled. And he doesn't have the AEW title. So all he has left is his pride. He's fighting for fucking pride. This guy tried to take him out. He's going to take him out. And he's going to fucking... Hopefully this is the match where Hangman fucking gets his balls back. You know what I mean? And then he starts maybe going on a run for the title, which obviously he will eventually lose. I mean, MJF should be going on a monster run until next year, when he inevitably probably goes to WWE or stays with AEW. Renee Paquette is in the ring again. She introduces Christian Cage. I love Christian Cage. I love heel Christian Cage. He's such a fucking dickhead. It's absolutely awesome. I love how he always is talking about Jungle Boy's dad, the late Luke Perry. It's just like, it's just like, it's cheap heat, but I think it's great heat, because it's just the way Christian delivers it is awesome. So he says he's gonna challenge them to a fight, not a match, on Sunday. So I guess they're gonna have a street fight. Maybe they're just gonna have like a no holds bar match, no bell, no pinfall. I mean, who knows? But I'm assuming they're gonna fight at Revolution. The lights go out. There's a video package of Jungle Boy digging a grave, spliced together with clips of his time as Christian being his mentor. He's actually like teary-eyed as he's digging the grave. And you look at the tombstone and it has Christian Cage's name on it. So we'll see what happens. Tony Schiavone is backstage with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. Hayter says she doesn't know what's going to be sweeter, beating out one bitch or two on Sunday, because she's going to be fighting both Ruby Soho and Saraya. So I really hope that Jamie stacks them and pins them both. I think that'd be the dopest thing ever, because Jamie Hayter is the greatest women's wrestler ever. And she says she's going to be watching Toni Storm's match tonight with Riho. Hook defeated Matt Hardy to defend the FTW title. As a result of this victory, Hook now gets a no DQ match. He gets the Stokely Hathaway, actually, in a no DQ match with the firm ban from ringside. It was a cool match. You know, they got the crowd into the fact that, like, the odds really were stacked against Hook. You know, they were cheap shots with the cast and whatever. But let's be real. Nobody thought that Matt Hardy was winning the FTW title from Hook. Whoever beats Hook, it's going to be a big deal. And it's going to that's going to be the signal that Hook is ready for, like, the AEW titles. Like, and what I mean by AEW titles, I mean, like All Atlantic title, possibly TNT title, possibly maybe a potential AEW title match. No victory, just a match. So we'll see. Matt Hardy showed aggression early, but obviously eventually Hook overcomes the odds, gets him in the red rum. Hardy taps instantly. The Elite, I don't even know if I mentioned this. If I did, I'm just an idiot. But the Elite get jumped by the House of Black, and they hold up the titles at the end. There was a video package then later on that night with House of Black saying they actually come from the shadows like they tend to do when they have a video package, but this time they're holding the trios belts, and they say that they're going to leave the titles here. They belong to the Elite, but on Sunday they've already lost, so we'll see. I mean, listen, it's going to be a great match. We all know it's going to be a great wrestling match, but I am with those who, I'm like I said, I'm a story-driven kind of guy. The storyline, I need to have that in my matches for me to enjoy the matches as I want to enjoy them. And this one kind of is lacking on the storytelling front. But I'm a pro wrestling fan, you know? It's going to be an awesome match. I know I'm going to be entertained. So either which way. But, I mean, I do believe that a matchup with two awesome teams like the Elite and the House of Black kind of deserved a little bit of a better build-up, and the Trios division deserves a little bit of a better build-up, and the Trios champions deserved a little bit more of a better build-up. So, you know, we'll go on from there. We had Toni Storm defeating Riho. It was a pretty good match. With Riho, wait, I could have sworn Riho won. Riho didn't win? It was Riho who won. Why did I write down that Toni Storm won? No, Riho wins, with a quick little roll-up at the end. Obviously, the odds were stacked against her because Toni Storm had Saraya at ringside who was harassing her. This brought out Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker to lend interference. This all ended up with Ruby Soho coming out and laying out everybody. So, we will see. Jamie Hayter's going to win. She should stack them both. Ruby Soho's a good wrestler. Saraya's a good wrestler. I'm hoping for a good triple threat match. You know, if I can't hope for good storylines from this AEW women's division, at least give me good wrestling matches. And I think this has the potential of being a good wrestling match. Now, I have no idea where it's going to end up in the card. So I have no idea, like, what it's going to have to follow, how hard of a time they're going to have getting the crowd going based on who they're going to follow. So, who knows? We'll find out soon enough. Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes are backstage. They address Mogul affiliates. Lee will not stand for what they do to others. Rhodes say they don't like playing games. Mogul affiliates will remember their name. Their tag team name is Naturally Limitless. I really hope they start doing... Hell yeah, the Hard on Hose main event. That's right. You're going to have to work for it, ladies. You're going to have to fucking work for it. They are really underutilizing Keith Lee. Like, I really wish there was more for Keith Lee to do in AEW. I wish he was fighting guys like Miro and shit like that. Like, Keith Lee should be having right now a fucking blood feud with Swerve, which I guess they're kind of doing right now, but it's muddled and shit on Rampage. Like, it doesn't feel important to me. After Keith Lee has this blood feud end with Swerve, there should be the return of Miro, and Miro takes out Keith Lee, and that's Keith Lee's next feud, is Miro. Have two big fucking meaty men slapping meat all over the place. That's the shit I'm talking about. John Silver and Alex Reynolds make their way out for the Casino Battle Royal. As they're on their way out, Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli jump them. They fight during the commercial. Lots of these, like, longer matches. Like, obviously, the ladder match had commercials. I thought the ladder match was fantastic, by the way. Powerhouse Hobbs winning was great. I know that we talked about this, but I just have to say, like, it was a fun ladder match. I do get upset that they get interrupted by commercial breaks, but obviously they kind of keep all the high spots for when they're live. But great ladder match. A lot was going on in this match. I honestly, like, I wasn't a match I kind of wanted to pay attention to, so, you know, it was a match and it happened, and people got in and people got out, and people got knocked out, and the last team to enter was Orange Cassidy and the last team to enter was the Butcher and the Blade, I think, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen win the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, and they will be the fourth tag team in this match at Revolution. They're going to be fighting the Guns, the Acclaimed, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and now Danhausen and Orange Cassidy are going to be a part of it as well. So already, like I said, also this is kind of one of the more colder cards of a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I mean, like, this tag team division right now, it has not been bumping very much lately. Like, I like the Acclaim as tag champs. I really don't think they should have lost to the Guns. I felt like there was more to do with the Acclaimed to elevate them and elevate the tag team division. And now that the Guns have it, and there's a 4-way tag match, and you got, like, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, they're not a real fucking tag team. You got Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, they're not a real fucking tag team either. The only real tag teams that are in there are the Guns and the Acclaimed. So it's just like, I don't really know what's going on with the tag team division. I'm not as into it as I once was. I feel like the division has really cooled off as of late. And I think once you have a match with you know, guys like Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, like, I kind of feel like it's jumped the shark at this point. Like, now it's just a match. Like, that's going to be a match where I'm going to, like, bullshit and eat pizza or do whatever. Let's see. A video package is shown highlighting the AEW World Title match on Sunday between Danielson and MJF. This had some voiceovers with Jim Ross, Dean Malenko, Excalibur, Taz, Renee Paquette. It feels like I think, aren't they airing, like, Countdown to Revolution, like, as we speak right now? I honestly think that was clips from that hour's special. I think. Or it's going to happen after Rampage. I don't know, but they usually do that show, right? They had a final confrontation between Danielson and MJF. I thought Danielson did a really good job selling this match. Let's see. So he's in the ring with Renee. Renee brings up a post from 2014 that MJF made when he was talking about dropping out of school and how he mentioned Bryan Danielson was one of the reasons why he wanted to be a wrestler. Danielson talked how he was forced to retire years ago, but if you fight for your dreams will fight for you. As he says this, MJF's music hits, chorus of boos, he interrupts. Danielson basically cuts MJF off, doesn't let MJF say a word. Says MJF hates him because of the family he has, and he thinks, and that's something that MJF thinks he deserves. He says that MJF has done nothing to earn or fight for anything that he has. He says that MJF has taken every shortcut to get to where he's at, and he deserves his fiance leaving him, and that he would never allow, like, his daughter to marry a man like him. And Danielson has fought for everything that he has gotten in life, and he left a job that would have paid him the rest of his life so he could fight. His new dream is to become AEW World Champion. He's willing to fight for it. And if MJF isn't willing to fight on Sunday, he's going to get his fucking head kicked in. They obviously bleeped that out on television, but here we go. MJF was steaming hot, mad. He storms off. The crowd goes nuts. MJF, Bryan Danielson, 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Title, main event of Revolution this Sunday. That concludes Dynamite. The card for Rampage right now is Swerve Strickland and Parker Boudreaux versus Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes. Obviously, they're going to, I guess, tease this one-on-one match between Keith Lee and Swerve, so the saga continues between them. The card for Revolution is as follows. MJF defends his world title against Bryan Danielson in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT title. Jamie Hayter defends her AEW Women's title against Saraya and Ruby Soho. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match. Chris Jericho takes on Ricky Starks. The Guns put their AEW tag titles on the line against the Acclaimed. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. And Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. The Elite defend their trios titles against House of Black. And Christian Cage against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Next week's Dynamite, the only thing we know for certain that's going to happen is Powerhouse Hobbs will be challenging the winner of Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT title. And that's the end of the show. Woo! I want to thank you guys for joining me on episode 54. I want to thank Royal in the chat. I want to thank Josh in the chat. I want to thank my boy Khan in the chat. Next week, we will have coverage on SmackDown. The alleged first face-to-face between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is being teased on SmackDown. Roman Reigns will be there. Cody said on Raw he will be there. Let's see what happens. We have Revolution on Sunday. Whatever happens on Monday Night Raw, and then the Dynamite review, all coming at you next Wednesday night at 10 p.m. here on the Smells Like Wrestling YouTube channel. My name is Eric. This has been episode 54. I want to thank everyone in the chat, everyone who subscribed. Spread the word. Let them know. The next big thing in pro wrestling podcast on YouTube is right here at Smells Like Wrestling. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.